So we're back on this running database. This table stayed the same. I've added a few more records. I've tweaked this form a little bit. I've got this little tabbed widget here, so didn't really need it, but just demonstrating that that is always an option. I've added an image and tidied up the buttons and stuff. Looks fine. Anyway, we're going to do a report. Now, a report goes back to the old days of printing stuff out. You know, you need to get some information from the database, so you print it out as a report. We're not going to do any printing, but we still use the same idea because we do need to query the database and then display to the user in a nice format. We always start with a query. So I'm going to do a report for all runs which are greater, or at least 5 kilometers, I should say. So create and query design, same as we've done before. Drag in my table, make sure I can see all of the fields, and add in the things that I want in my query, which is basically I want to see the ID always, the route. I want to see everything, don't I? Trainers, weather, distance, yeah, sure. And the criteria is going to be that the distance is at least 5 kilometers, so greater than or equal to 5 kilometers. See what that looks like. Yep, those 3 runs are the ones which are greater than or equal to 5 kilometers. So I'm going to save that query as QRY runs at least 5 km. I think is a very descriptive name. So I'll close that, and now we're going to make a report from it. Now, same as everything else that we've made so far, there's more than one option for making a report. In my experience, we are better off using this button here. The wizard does give you a little bit more control as you create it, but somehow or other the report that's made using the wizard is always uglier and harder to work with than if you just click this button. So we're just going to click this button. You'll notice that I had queries selected over here. I'll just actually get rid of that, say no, and I'm going to, if I click on tables and go create again, this is the wrong thing to do. See, it's now created a report based on the table. I don't want that. I always want it based on the query. So let's go and do that again. Create and report. So this is same as when we make a form. What it gives you with the default button is just a starting point. There's some obvious issues with this. So for instance, you can see that if we do the print preview, let's go to the print preview, it's chopped off it's like in landscape format, but it's put it in into portrait format, so you can see that's terrible, isn't it? 2 pages, it's easier to see. Yeah, that's not okay at all. Close print preview is how we go back to this view. Also, the title is wrong up here, and it's just, it needs some love. These things always do. So let's do the easy thing first. Let's make it runs at least 5 kilometers. That's a good name to start with. Let's resize some of these things. We're in the layout view at the moment, so you can work in the layout view. There's no reason not to, but you can also go into the design view and works just the same. We've got that same thing that things are linked together, which is kind of nice. Works quite well, like that. And here as well is a good place to do things like change colors if that's what you wanted to do. So we have a look at that. Go back to the home and change the view to print preview. Let's just zoom in on do a 1 page on it. So it does work now. It's better than it was. It's not magnificent, but we do have all of this junk over here. So let's just move all of that lot back over to there. I think that will probably do the job we wanted. Back to the home view, print preview. It needs a bit more love. All right. It's really hard to make these look good. That's kind of not that massive a consideration. It needs to be usable. It needs to be readable. It needs to not be ugly and everything uncluttered or misaligned or things over the top of each other. I'll show you one thing that you might well see a few times. It comes up quite a lot. If you've accidentally resized the date to be a bit small, it does print preview. it does that. That's not good. So don't do that. And yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of tools up here for making it look a little bit better as well, and changing properties and fonts and colors and all of that kind of stuff. But the key thing is to do something with it. So last thing is I want to talk group and sort. If you'd made it in the wizard, it would have asked you if you wanted to do any grouping, but we are going to group. And what I'm going to do is group by weather. So we're going to have the grouped ones together. So if I just go to the layout view, see what that looks like. See, it's grouped all of the clear ones together and all of the rainy ones together, which is, an option. There's all kinds of situations where that might be useful. For instance, I've done this with lists of students and grouped by tutor group or grouped by house or year level or things like that. It can be, if you've got lots of data, it can be super helpful to do that. And we'll do that with some Pokemon. We'll group by type and things like that as well when we do some reports. Right. So there you go. The Microsoft Access report design tool, the loveliness that it is. Good times.